There comes a moment in a person's life when they stop asking for a better situation and start asking for a stronger soul. That moment does not come with success. It does not come with celebration. It comes when something inside you finally gets tired of being held up by the world. If you are in that place right now, you are not watching this by chance. You are standing at the beginning of a different version of yourself. Let me show you what Allah is doing in this season of your life. Allah did not remove your support. He exposed what was never holding you. Let me stay with the part of your heart that still feels unsteady, like the ground shifted beneath you and you are not sure where to place your next step. There are moments in life when something you leaned on quietly slips away, not with noise, not with a warning. It can be a person who slowly changes, a plan you built your future around that suddenly stops making sense, a door you were certain would open, but instead remains closed no matter how many times you knock. And when that happens, it does not only take something from your life, it takes a feeling of safety from inside you. You begin to realize how much of your peace was resting on that one thing, how many of your prayers were shaped around it, how many of your dreams were built with it at the center. So when it disappears, a kind of quiet panic rises, not loud, not dramatic, just a steady question that sits in your chest. If this is gone, what am I standing on now? But listen to me gently. Allah did not allow this to move to leave you empty. He allowed it to move to show you what was never strong enough to hold the weight you placed on it. There are supports in our lives that look solid from a distance. They feel reliable when everything is calm. But when the storm comes, they shift, they bend, they break. And only then does the heart realize it was leaning on something that could not carry it through every season. This is not a punishment. This is a revelation. Sometimes Allah does not remove the thing itself first. He removes the illusion you had about it. He lets you see its limits, its fragility, its inability to be for you what only He can be. And in that moment, you feel exposed, as if the walls you thought were protecting you have fallen, and now the wind can reach you. You feel small, uncertain, unsure of how to move forward without what once gave you a sense of direction. But my dear one, this is not the moment you are being dropped into nothing. This is the moment you are being invited to stand on something that does not shift with time, mood, or circumstance. Because people change, plans change, opportunities change, even your own strength changes. There will be days you wake up full of energy and clarity, and days you wake up with heaviness and questions. If your foundation is built on anything that can change, then every change will shake you. So Allah, in His mercy, allows the shaking to happen now, not to destroy you, but to teach you where to place your weight. This is why this season feels so uncomfortable. It is not just about losing something. It is about learning how to stand differently. Before, you leaned forward, reaching for what you thought would carry you. Now, you are being taught to lean upward, to rely on a support that does not depend on the world staying kind, or people staying the same, or life following your plans. And yes, at first, it feels like standing in the air, like there is nothing under your feet, like you might fall. But slowly, gently, you begin to notice something else. You are still here. You are still breathing. You are still being carried through the days, even without what you thought you needed. And that is when a quiet understanding begins to grow. What you lost was not your true support. What you lost was what was blocking you from discovering it. So take your time in this place. Do not rush to replace what fell away. Do not hurry to fill the space with something new just to stop the feeling of emptiness. Let this space teach you. Let it show you that beneath everything that changes, beneath everything that comes and goes, there is a support that does not move. And when you finally place your heart there, you will realize something deeply calming. You were never meant to be held by what left. You were always meant to be held by the one who stayed. Your tears are not a cry for relief. They are a summoning of divine attention. Let me speak to the part of your heart that feels embarrassed by how easily it breaks these days. The part of you that wishes you could be stronger, quieter, more in control of what spills out when no one is watching. There are moments when the tears come without permission. You are not even thinking about anything in particular, and suddenly your chest feels heavy, your throat tightens, your eyes burn, and you wonder why your heart feels so full and so empty at the same time. You tell yourself, I should be past this. You tell yourself, I should not still feel this way. You tell yourself, I need to pull myself together. But listen to me gently. Your tears are not a sign that something is wrong with your faith. They are a sign that your heart is still alive. There is a difference between a heart that cries and a heart that has gone numb. A numb heart does not feel pain, but it also does not feel closeness. It does not feel longing. It does not feel the quiet pull toward Allah in the middle of the night. When you cry, something inside you is reaching, not outward, inward, upward. You may think you are crying because of what someone did, or what you lost, or what did not work out the way you hoped. But deeper than that, your heart is crying because it is tired of carrying things alone. This is why the tears often come when you finally stop being busy, when the noise of the day fades, when you lie down, when you sit in silence, when there is nothing left to distract you from what you have been holding inside. And in that quiet, your heart does something very honest. It calls out, not always in words, not always in clear prayers, sometimes just in a deep breath, sometimes in a whispered name, sometimes in a moment where you stare at the ceiling and feel like you cannot explain what you need, only that you need something more than what this world keeps giving you. This is not weakness. This is connection. Allah does not look at your tears and see failure. He sees sincerity. He sees a heart that has stopped pretending it can handle everything on its own. The world teaches you to be composed, to be impressive, to be unshaken. But Allah invites you to be real. When you cry, you are no longer performing. You are no longer protecting your image. You are simply showing your need. And there is a special kind of mercy that moves toward need. Think about how you respond when you see someone truly vulnerable. Not acting, not exaggerating, just honestly hurting. Something inside you softens. Something inside you wants to help, to comfort, to draw closer. And Allah's mercy is far greater than any human heart. So when your tears fall, do not rush to wipe them away as if they are something to be ashamed of. Do not scold your heart for feeling too much. Let those tears become part of your conversation with Allah. Let them say what your words cannot. Because sometimes the most powerful prayer is not a long sentence or a perfect phrase. Sometimes it is a quiet tear that says, Ya Allah, I cannot carry this alone anymore. And in that moment, even if you do not feel an immediate change in your situation, something inside you begins to shift. You feel a little less alone, a little less heavy, a little more seen, not by the world, but by the one who knows every reason behind every tear, even the ones you do not fully understand yourself. So if you find yourself crying more in this season, do not think Allah is far from you. It may be the opposite. It may be that your heart has finally become soft enough to feel how close He has been all along. The moment the world failed your heart, heaven claimed it. Let me speak to the quiet disappointment you carry, the kind you do not talk about because it feels too personal, too tender, too hard to explain without your voice changing. There is a particular kind of hurt that comes when you give something your trust. Not just your time or your effort, but a piece of your hope. You believe in a person, you believe in a future, you believe in a path you are walking, and for a while, it feels right. It feels steady. It feels like something you can build your life around. Then, slowly or suddenly, it does not hold. A promise is broken, a connection fades, a plan falls apart. And the pain is not only in what you lost, the pain is in what you believed. You start questioning yourself, your judgment, your heart, your ability to trust again. But listen to me gently. This moment, as heavy as it feels, is not just about being disappointed by the world. It is about being redirected by Allah. When something in the world fails your heart, it creates a space inside you that only something greater can fill. Before, that space was occupied by expectation, by attachment, by the quiet belief that this one thing or this one person or this one outcome would finally make everything feel settled. And when it leaves, the space feels empty, cold, exposed. But my dear one, that space was never meant to stay empty. It was meant to be lifted. This is why heartbreak often leads people to deeper reflection, to longer pauses, to moments where they look up instead of looking ahead, where they sit in silence and ask questions they never had time to ask when life was busy and comfortable. The world's failure has a strange way of waking the heart. It makes you realize how fragile everything you hold is, how temporary even the things that feel permanent can be, how easily what you rely on can change without asking your permission. And in that realization, something shifts inside you. You begin to crave something that does not move so easily, something that does not depend on moods, timing, or human consistency. You begin to crave Allah. This is what it means when heaven claims the heart, not in a dramatic way, not with signs in the sky or voices in the wind, but in a quiet reorientation of where your hope rests. Before, your heart leaned outward toward the world, waiting for it to confirm your worth, your direction, your sense of peace. Now, your heart starts leaning upward. You may not even notice it at first. It shows up in small ways, in the way you whisper a short prayer without planning to, in the way you pause before reacting, in the way you feel a strange comfort in simply knowing that Allah sees what you are going through, even if no one else does. This does not mean the pain disappears overnight. It means the pain begins to change. It stops being just a wound, and it becomes a teacher. It teaches you where not to build your home. It teaches you what cannot carry your heart. It teaches you what to hold lightly and what to hold tightly. And slowly, gently, you begin to understand something that is both comforting and humbling. The world did not fail you to leave you empty. It failed you to lead you somewhere fuller. So if your heart feels claimed in this season, if you feel less interested in chasing what once consumed you, if you find yourself drawn more to quiet moments than loud distractions, do not be afraid of that shift. It may be the sound of your heart being guided, not away from life, but closer to the one who gives it meaning. What walked away from you was not a loss. It was a release from a hidden prison. Let me speak to the part of your heart that still feels the absence. The empty space where something used to be. The quiet echo of what you thought would always stay. There are things in life that you hold on to, not because they are truly giving you peace, but because you are afraid of what it will feel like to let them go. A relationship that drains you more than it nourishes. A role that forces you to be smaller than you really are. A version of yourself that you keep alive because it once made you feel accepted. And when it leaves, the pain is sharp. Not only because it is gone, but because you do not yet see what it was costing you while it was there. At first, all you can feel is the gap, the silence, the missing weight in your day. You replay moments. You wonder what you could have done differently. You imagine how things might have been if it had stayed. But listen to me gently. Not everything that leaves your life is being taken from you. Some things are being lifted off you. There are attachments that slowly turn into cages, not with bars you can see, but with expectations, compromises, and fears that quietly shape how you move, how you speak, and how much of yourself you allow to exist. You begin to measure your words. You begin to adjust your dreams. You begin to shrink your truth so it can fit inside what you are trying to keep. And you call this loyalty. You call this love. You call this responsibility. But inside, your heart feels tired in a way you cannot explain. When that thing finally walks away, it feels like the door has slammed shut. But sometimes, my dear one, that sound is not a door closing. It is a lock breaking. This is why, after the initial pain, a strange lightness can appear. You notice you breathe a little deeper. You notice you do not feel the same tightness in your chest when you think about your future. You notice that your thoughts start wandering toward possibilities you had not allowed yourself to consider before. This is not because you stopped caring. It is because you stopped being confined. Allah, in His mercy, sometimes removes what your heart is too attached to let go of on its own. Not because He wants to hurt you, but because He sees how much of you is being held back by what you are holding on to. You could not see the walls while you were living inside them. Now you can see the sky. And even if it feels too wide, too open, too uncertain at first, that openness is not meant to scare you. It is meant to remind you that you were created for more than a small, guarded life. So do not rush to rebuild the same walls in a different shape. Do not quickly replace what left with something that looks similar just to feel safe again. Let this freedom teach you. Let it show you who you are when you are not constantly trying to fit into something that was never designed to hold the fullness of your heart. Because sometimes the greatest mercy does not come in the form of what is given. It comes in the form of what is finally, lovingly, taken away. Your shattered state is the throne where mercy chooses to sit. Let me speak to the part of you that believes you must become whole before you can be worthy of closeness. The part of you that thinks you need to fix yourself, understand yourself, and stabilize your life before you can come near to Allah. There is a quiet pressure you carry, even in your faith, a feeling that you should arrive at Allah with answers instead of questions, with strength instead of weakness, with clarity instead of confusion. But listen to me gently. Allah does not wait for you to be complete. He meets you in the place where you feel most undone. There is something about a heart that has been shattered that makes it finally stop negotiating. When you are strong, you still try to manage. You still try to control. You still believe, somewhere inside, that if you just try harder, plan better, or hold on tighter, you can fix what is hurting. But when you are broken, all of that falls away. You no longer come to Allah with strategies. You no longer come with conditions. You no longer come with the quiet pride of thinking you can handle life on your own. You come with open hands. You come with a heart that says, without saying it, Ya Allah, I cannot carry this by myself anymore. And that, my dear one, is a place of deep honesty. This is why your shattered state is not a place Allah avoids. It is a place He moves toward. When you are broken, you are no longer hiding parts of yourself. You are no longer presenting the version of you that seems acceptable. You are simply showing what is real. The tiredness, the confusion, the longing, the fear, the hope that still flickers, even when everything else feels dim. And Allah's mercy is drawn to what is real. Think about how you respond to someone who finally stops pretending and lets you see their true pain. You do not turn away. You soften. You listen more carefully. You move closer. Allah's mercy is far greater than any human response. So when your heart is shattered, do not think of it as a state of rejection. Think of it as a state of invitation. An invitation to come as you are, not as who you think you should be. This is why sometimes the moments you feel closest to Allah are not the moments of success, celebration, or strength. They are the moments when you sit alone, when the noise fades, when the world is quiet, and you finally allow yourself to feel everything you have been carrying. In those moments, your heart is not performing. It is resting, and resting in Allah's presence is a form of worship in itself. You may not be saying long prayers. You may not be reciting beautiful words. You may simply be breathing and feeling and being. But even that is seen. Even that is held. Because mercy does not only respond to what you say, it responds to who you are. So if you find yourself in a season where you feel shattered, do not rush to escape it. Do not rush to cover it up with distractions or force yourself into a version of strength you do not yet feel. Let this place teach you how to be gentle with your own heart. Let it show you that you do not need to be perfect to be close to Allah. You only need to be present. And in that presence, slowly, quietly, something begins to change. The weight in your chest does not disappear all at once. The questions do not vanish overnight. The pain does not magically turn into peace, but a softness appears, a sense that you are not carrying this alone, a feeling that even in your most fragile state, there is a mercy surrounding you, steady and patient, waiting for you to lean into it. And when you finally do, you will realize something deeply comforting. Your shattered state was never a place of abandonment. It was a place of meeting. You are not being repaired. You are being forged into a sign. Let me speak to the part of your heart that wonders who you are becoming through all of this. The part that feels unfamiliar to itself, as if you are meeting a quieter, deeper version of you for the first time. There is a common belief that when something breaks, it must be fixed so it can return to how it was before. But listen to me gently. You were never meant to go back. This season is not about restoring the old shape of your life. It is about forming a new one. Every moment of disappointment, every tear, every night you lay awake with thoughts you cannot organize, is not simply wear and tear on your soul. It is pressure. And pressure, when guided by Allah, does not destroy. It shapes. Think about how something becomes strong, not by being left alone, but by being worked, heated, bent, tested, made to endure conditions it never chose for itself. Your heart is going through something similar. The version of you that once relied on ease is being replaced by a version that understands endurance. The version of you that once trusted outcomes is being replaced by a version that trusts Allah. The version of you that once measured life by what it could see is being replaced by a version that can walk forward even when the path is still hidden. This is what it means to be forged. You may feel quieter now, less reactive, less eager to explain yourself or prove your worth. This is not because you have lost something. It is because you have found something steadier. There is a calm that comes from knowing where your reliance truly rests. A calm that does not depend on people agreeing with you, plans working out, or life staying comfortable. And when others look at you in this state, they may sense something they cannot name, a kind of depth, a kind of stillness, a kind of presence. This is what it means to be a sign, not someone who stands on a stage and announces their strength, but someone whose quiet way of moving through hardship points without words to the one who is carrying them. Your life becomes a gentle message, a message that says, it is possible to be hurt and still hopeful. A message that says, it is possible to lose and still trust. A message that says, it is possible to walk through fire and come out with a softer heart, not a harder one. This does not happen overnight. Forging is slow. It happens in the ordinary days. In the moments when you choose patience instead of bitterness, when you choose prayer instead of panic, when you choose to place your questions in Allah's hands instead of letting them turn into despair, and slowly, almost without noticing, you begin to stand differently. You do not cling as tightly. You do not fear change as deeply. You do not crumble as easily. Not because life has become gentle, but because your heart has become anchored. So, if you feel like you are in between who you were and who you will be, do not be afraid of that space. It is a sacred space. It is the place where Allah is shaping you into something that does not just survive the world, but quietly reflects His mercy within it. You are not being repaired to fit back into a life that broke you. You are being forged into a sign that points beyond it. And one day, when you look back at this season, you will not only see what it took from you, you will see what it gave you. A heart that knows where to stand, a soul that knows where to turn, and a quiet strength that carries the mark of having been held, shaped and guided by Allah every step of the way. If something inside you feels quieter now, let that quiet stay with you for a moment. You have been walking through a season where the world feels less convincing than it used to. The noise does not pull you the same way. The rush does not satisfy you the same way. The things you once chased do not hold the same weight in your hands or in your heart. And maybe, for the first time, you are starting to understand why. Because when a heart has been gently claimed by Allah, it does not belong fully to what is temporary anymore. It still lives in this world. It still works, hopes, plans, and tries. But deep inside, it has learned where its true rest is. So if you walk away from this moment carrying a little more stillness, a little more softness, a little more awareness of Allah in the quiet parts of your day, then this message has already done what it was meant to do. Do not rush to become loud again. Let your heart stay gentle. Let your steps stay mindful. Let your reliance stay upward, even when your life moves forward. And when the world tries to pull you back into its noise, remember this feeling. Remember that you were not pulled away to be lost. You were pulled closer to be held. So go gently, go with trust, and go knowing that the one who claimed your heart is still walking with you, even in the moments when the path feels unseen.